Hello dear students, hope you are doing fine. Welcome back to this radio lesson, Ready to Run, produced by Rwanda Education Board in partnership with UNICEF and Inspire, Educate and Empower Rwanda. You are with Teacher Jane as usual. Senior 2 students, please come on board for this geography hour. Today, we are running the relief regions of Rwanda. We will identify the major relief features of Rwanda. Then, we will look at the importance of relief features of Rwanda. Finally, we will identify the problems related to the relief features of Rwanda. Our lesson is from page 79 to 84 of the student book. Dear students, our country Rwanda is gifted with relief features that have beautifully decorated the appearance of the landscape. The landscape of Rwanda was caused by various geomorphologic processes, the greatest one being tectonic forces. Friends, during our previous lesson, you remember that we said that Rwanda is referred to as a country of 1,000 hills. U Rwanda rw'imisozi igihumbi. Can you think of what we said about it? Great! The landscape of Rwanda is not homogeneous. It is dominantly described by the rolling hills and mountainous appearances. The altitude decreases from west to east. The highest point of the land of Rwanda is situated on a volcanic mountain known as Mount Karisimbi at an altitude of 4,507 meters above sea level, while the lowest point is found in Bugarama, the area drained by River Rusizi at 900 meters above sea level. And it is against this beautiful scenery that the country of Rwanda is referred to as the land of 1,000 hills. Now, according to what you learned in the previous years, what are the relief regions are there in Rwanda? Think of the relief regions we have in Rwanda. All right, there are 6 physiographic regions in Rwanda, physiographic regions of relief regions, and each related to one another in the types of scenery or features. They include the Eastern Plateau, or the Eastern Plain as some say, the Central Plateau, the Volcanic Region, the Conglomerate Crest or watershed, the Bugarama Plain, the slopes and banks of Lake Kivu. These are 6. To the north and west of the country, the relief is at high elevation, steadily dropping towards the eastern parts of the country. If we look into details, these relief regions, and we start with Bugarama Plain, this region is below 900 meters above sea level, and it is the lowest region in Rwanda. It is also the hottest part of the country. Bugarama Plain is located into the southwest of the country, close to the border with Burundi and the Democratic Republic of Congo. This plain is an extension of Imbo Plain from Burundi. Its elevation is 900 meters above sea level, and it is drained by River Rusizi. The lowlands of the southwest in Bugarama Plain are part of the tectonic depression of the African Rift Valley. The Bugarama Plain layers on an old alluvial deposits of sedimentary rocks. This is a result of tectonic forces underneath the Earth's crust. After Bugarama Plain, we have the Eastern Plateaus or the Eastern Plains. These are between 1,000 and 1,500 meters above sea level. The Eastern Plateaus border the Central Plateaus and extends to Uganda and Tanzania borders. Areas that are part of this region include Bugesera and the former Umutara. The surface area rises westwards to the Central Plateaus. It has low-lying hills with gentle slopes which rise in some areas to over 2,000 meters. The lowland areas found in this part possess marshy areas, rivers, and lakes. These include Muhazi Lake, Sache, Ihema, Rwehikama, Rwakigeri, Nasho, Rwanyakizinga, Mugesera, Rweru, Cyohoha, Mpanga, Kivumba, Rwakibari. All those are the lakes, and rivers such as Akagera, Nyabarongo, and Umuvumba. The eastern plains are mainly occupied by savanna vegetation. The third relief region in Rwanda is the Central Plateau. This physiographic region begins from the southern part of the northern province, moving towards Burundi. It also moves from the eastern slope of the Conglomerate Crest up to the border of Kigali. In this region, the landscape is characterized by flat-topped hills that are separated from each other by a wide range of river valleys. These river valleys are rich in alluvial deposits. This region covers areas such as Muhanga, Ruhango, Nyanza, part of Bugesera, Huye, Gisagara, and Kigali. The average elevation of this relief region ranges between 105. The average elevation of this relief region ranges between 1,500 and 2,000 meters high. This area dominates a wide area of the country, and it covers more than half of the country. It is over 80 kilometers in width. It is from this region that Rwanda is referred to as the Land of Thousand Hills. The next region is the slopes and banks of Lake Kivu, ranging between 1,460 and 3,000 meters above sea level. This is an area blocked by fault scarps and escarpments, or lines of weakness, as a result of plate tectonics. The slopes are steep and highly eroded by rainwater. The streams flow westwards towards Lake Kivu. Most of the rivers flowing towards Lake Kivu, except River Sebeya and Funda, are seasonal. The next region is the Conglomerate Crest, between 2,500 meters and 3,000 meters above sea level. This is a divide between waters of River Congo to the west and waters of River Nile to the east. This is an extensive area of about 160 kilometers in length from north to south, and between 20 kilometers and 50 kilometers wide from east to east. The highlands have sharp pointed hilltops and V-shaped valleys. In this region, the highest elevation point is found at Mount Muhungwe at 3,000 meters above sea level and stretches north-south along the western part of the country in the districts of Rubavu, Nyabihu, Rutsiro, Karongi, Nyamasheke, and Rusizi. The last region is Volcanic Region. The Volcanic Region, between 3,000 meters and 4,507 meters above sea level. This is the relief region of Rwanda that is associated with the presence of volcanic ranges, hence the name Volcanic Region. Volcanic activity shaped the landscape of this area, completely setting up its distinct features. The main part of this region is made up of the volcanoes, which lie north of Rubavu, Nyabihu, and Musanze districts. These volcanoes form an important geographic area of Rwanda. This is because they experience cool, moist, and healthy climate for human settlement, animal and plant life. This region also has the most fertile soils, which are the potential for the growth of a variety of crops. Actually, these highlands are more densely populated than any other physical division in Rwanda. The major volcanoes in Rwanda are Karisimbi with 4,507 meters, and this is the most complex and highest of all the volcanoes in Rwanda. Karisimbi has a crater lake of about 120 meters in diameter, and its peak is sometimes covered by snow, hence the name Karisimbi. The second volcano is Muhabura, with 4,127 meters above sea level. Muhabura is the youngest of all the volcanoes in Rwanda. It is at the border of Rwanda and Uganda. Muhabura has a crater lake of about 100 meters in diameter. It is a dormant and is the most visible volcanoes in the region. It still shows signs of eruption, hence becoming a dormant volcano. Long ago, it was used to trace the direction to and from the area by the Rwandans, hence the name Muhabura. Another volcano is Bushokoro or Bisoke, with 3,711 meters. This is a complex volcanic cone with the biggest crater lake. It has cracks and joints and has the biggest crater in Rwanda. Then we have Sabyinyo with 3,634 meters above sea level. This is the oldest and the most extinct of all the volcanoes in Rwanda. It is found in the border between Uganda, Rwanda, and Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. Its slopes have been badly eroded by surface runoffs and streams, leaving behind several ridges and necks of resistant rocks that resemble teeth, hence the name Sabyinyo. This one has no crater lake. The last volcano is Gahinga with 3,474 meters. This is the smallest of all the volcanoes in the Virunga chain. It has no crater lake. Dear students, note that all the volcanoes in Rwanda were used to demarcate the boundary between the Republic of Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Rwanda. These volcanoes extend in DR Congo by Mikeno, Nyiragongo, and Nyamuragira. The last two volcanoes are still active. Welcome back from the break. Now, allow me to read you a short story, then I will ask you some questions. Are you ready? Great. I start. In her geography lesson, teacher Hakizimana of Kagarama School was to teach about advantages and disadvantages of relief futures in Rwanda. She took the learners under a tree where she started by saying, farming takes place in highland areas, so it should carefully be done to avoid soil erosion and degradation. This is why Terracing is done in such areas to prevent the loss of the fertile topsoils, she said. She then asked her learners to describe human activities in the areas where they come from. And the following were the learners' responses. Kamagaju, one of the learners, said, "Our home is on the plains that border Nyabarongo River. Here, people cultivate crops because they say the soil is deep and fertile." Then, Ngoga, another student, said, "I come from Karongi district near Lake Kivu. There, some people around the lake practice mining near the beaches because the area has alluvial minerals." Kabano, another student, said, "Roads in our rural home in Gicumbi goes around some of the hills they are constructed on. Due to this, motor taxis say driving fast on such roads is dangerous." Then, Uwizeye said, "I have grown up in Kigali. I have friends in Kiyovu, Nyarutarama, Rebero, and Kachiru. Sometimes I visit them. I believe people are settled in these places because Kigali and its surrounding areas are on gentle slopes." Then Gasaro said, "I saw Rwanda Telecommunication Service vans climbing the hills near our home to repair the communication masts on Kagarama Hills. And one of them was overheard saying that they were to proceed to the station of Mount Karisimbi afterwards before going back to their office." Teta said, "My uncle, a lecturer at university, once told me that there are no settlements on the slopes found in places such as Sabyinyo, Karisimbi, Bisoke, Gahinga, and Muhabura." Another boy, Chubahiro, said, "My guardian is an agricultural extension officer. She told me that the leeward slopes of the places Teta has mentioned are unsuitable for crop farming." Then Ziza said, "Poor farming methods in our neighborhood in Rusizi caused soil erosion. This is because the land is hilly. However, people practice contour farming nowadays to prevent further loss of fertile soil top." Ziza said, "Poor farming methods in our neighborhood in Rusizi caused soil erosion. This is because the land is hilly. However, people practice contour farming nowadays to prevent further loss of fertile topsoil." Thank you. Dear students, from the discussion above, mention both disadvantages of relief in Rwanda. Good. The relief features of Rwanda have the following importance. The plateaus and basins formed by flooding have enabled the growth of crops, human settlement, and construction of transport and communication networks. The highlands formed by flooding, and volcanic mountains have influenced the climatic conditions of the area where they are found, especially rainfall formation. Also, the formation of lakes in valleys has encouraged fishing and sand quarrying. Again, faults, volcanic landforms, and faults like the Great Rift Valley provide beautiful sceneries which are tourist attraction sites who bring foreign exchange to the country. Also, the many rivers and lakes in the country provide water for domestic and industrial uses. The escarpments and fault scarps along rivers, for example, River Rusizi, are important to the generation of hydroelectric power. Volcanic landforms like the lava plateaus break down, giving rise to fertile volcanic soils that are suitable for plant growth. Also, lava-dammed lakes such as Burera and Ruhondo provide water for use and can be used for fishing and transport. Dear students, despite their importance, the DDA features of Rwanda also pose the following problems. For example, flooding discourages transport. The features formed such as the Rift Valley are barriers to transport and communication. Where high mountains are formed, it is difficult to practice agriculture. Also, volcanic eruptions are destructive. For example, in the year 2002, the volcanic eruption at Goma left many people homeless. It also caused violent earthquakes. Also, the leeward sides of the mountains formed receive very little rainfall. Dear students, remember, farming on the slopes can easily trigger soil erosion. It is therefore important that farmers engage in modern methods of farming that promote continued use of the soil. This can be achieved through ploughing across contours. It is one of the sustainable farming methods, which is a way of conserving the environment. Dear students, I want to challenge you. As future leaders, what will you do to protect the population against the natural calamities related to REB futures? As future leaders, what will you do to protect the population against the natural calamities related to REB futures? Thank you. As we are coming to the end of our lesson, let's make a summary of what we have learned today. Think of one thing you have got as a highlight. Yes, think of one thing you have got as a highlight. Excellent. Today, we have learned the major relief regions of Rwanda and their major characteristics. We also discussed the advantages and disadvantages of relief futures on human activities. Friends, remember, human activities such as farming and settlements are more common on land that is gently sloping or flat because it is easy to set them up. Steep mountains and hillsides are set aside for forestry and for conservation of wildlife. Where natural forests have been cleared, more trees have been planted as a form of environmental conservation. Such areas include Gishwati Forest, whose forest cover has been restored after extensive deforestation in earlier years. Dear students, hope you have met our objectives. Our lesson ends here. Thank you for your time and participation. I'm Teacher Jen. See you.